Welcome to Grim Storytellers. Here I will tell you a true story of a traumatic and scary person's experience. If you are interested in scary stories based on true stories, then you should subscribe to this channel so that it will be an impressive experience for you. Or if you have your own story, please let us know, email link on description. This story comes from a woman named Lily. She sent her story via email that I will tell you about her terrifying experience. Let's start the story. I boarded the train at the downtown station, the air thick with the chatter of commuters rushing home. It was a familiar scene, but today felt different, charged, almost electric. I glanced at my phone, scrolling through messages, trying to drown out the noise around me. The crowd surged forward, and I was swept along, my attention solely on the screen. As I navigated through the throngs of people, I barely noticed the carriage numbers until I found myself stepping into carriage number 13. I chuckled to myself at the superstition, who really believed in that nonsense. I slipped into a window seat, oblivious to the sea of passengers standing in the aisle, each one vying for a spot in the cramped space. I returned to my phone, the glow illuminating my face as I tapped away, lost in the digital world. The train jolted forward, and I felt the familiar rhythm of the tracks beneath me. The chatter faded into a dull hum, and I began to relax, momentarily forgetting about the other passengers. But then, something shifted. The train plunged into a dark tunnel, and the lights flickered ominously. I glanced up, expecting to see the familiar faces of fellow travelers, but my heart sank. The carriage was empty, the air thick with an unsettling silence. The only other occupant was a woman sitting in the far corner, shrouded in shadow. I squinted, trying to make out her features. She was dressed in tattered clothing, her hair wild and unkempt, and her eyes glinted with something unsettling. My instinct screamed at me to leave, but I felt frozen in place. I turned to the window, hoping for a glimpse of the outside world, but all I saw was an inky blackness enveloping us. The train rumbled on, and I felt a wave of nausea wash over me. I pulled out my phone to check for signal, but the screen remained stubbornly blank. Panic clawed at my throat as I realized that I was utterly alone, trapped in carriage 13 with this eerie woman. Where are we? I whispered, more to myself than anyone else. My voice echoed in the stillness, and the woman's head snapped toward me, her gaze piercing. You don't know? She croaked, her voice chilling. You've been here before. You just don't remember. I shivered, a chill creeping down my spine. I felt disoriented, as if I had stepped into a nightmare I couldn't wake from. I looked around, frantically searching for a way out, but the train continued its relentless journey deeper into the darkness. I need to get home, I stammered, desperation creeping into my voice. This isn't the way. I need to.
The way home is not what it seems,
she interrupted, her voice laced with a sinister undertone.
You must choose to leave, but the path is not easy.
I felt my heart racing, the weight of her words sinking in. I glanced back out the window, hoping for a glimpse of something familiar, but the scenery hadn't changed, nothing but shadows rushing past. I felt trapped, my mind racing through 1,000 thoughts. I had to find a way out. Can't you help me? I pleaded, my voice barely above a whisper. I don't belong here. She leaned forward, her eyes narrowing.
You must face the truth of Carriage 13. It holds your fears, your regrets. Only by confronting them can you escape.
Before I could respond, the lights flickered again, plunging us into darkness. I felt a wave of fear wash over me, and the sensation of being watched intensified. I closed my eyes, trying to gather my thoughts. I had to remember. I had to find a way back. I focused on the things that grounded me, my home, my family, the warmth of the sunlight filtering through my window. I pictured the streets I walked every day, the familiar sounds of my neighborhood. I am not lost, I whispered to myself. Suddenly, the train jerked violently and the lights flared back to life. I opened my eyes and the woman was gone. I was alone once more, but the oppressive darkness lingered, wrapping around me like a shroud. I leaped to my feet, heart pounding, and raced toward the door. "Let me out!" I shouted, but the door wouldn't budge, locked against my frantic attempts. I pounded on the glass, desperation clawing at my throat.
"Help me, please!"
I screamed, but the sound felt hollow, echoing back at me. The train continued to rumble on, the darkness outside swallowing me whole. With every ounce of strength, I turned back to face the empty carriage, the shadows creeping in. I refused to be a part of this. I shouted, my voice filled with defiance. I will find my way back. In that moment of clarity, I felt a pull, a connection to the world outside. I focused on that feeling, letting it guide me. I reached for the door again, and this time it opened with a creak, revealing a blinding light. I stumbled out onto the platform, gasping for breath. I looked around, dazed and disoriented. I was back at the station, the familiar sounds of the bustling crowd flooding my senses. But something was off. The clock on the wall hadn't moved, the train hadn't arrived. I glanced back at carriage number 13, the doors closed, the windows dark. It was as if it had never left. Confusion washed over me. Had it all been a dream? A figment of my imagination? I stepped closer, peering through the window, but the carriage was empty. The weight of the experience pressed down on me, the memory of the woman lingering in my mind. I stumbled back, my heart racing. The train had never left. I had never truly escaped. As I stepped away, overwhelmed, the crowd continued to rush past, oblivious to my turmoil. I felt a chill creep down my spine as I realized I would never forget Carriage 13. It was a place that held secrets, a reminder of the darkness that could lurk just beneath the surface of our reality. I stood for a moment, rooted to the spot, trying to gather my thoughts. The vibrant sounds of the station, the chatter of commuters, the distant rumble of trains felt surreal against the backdrop of my recent experience. I could still feel the oppressive weight of the carriage pressing down on me, the shadows whispering my name. Taking a deep breath, I tried to ground myself in the present. I looked around at the bustling crowd, their faces a blur of normalcy, unaware of the terror I had just faced. In that moment, I realized how easily one could slip between realities, how quickly the familiar could become the nightmarish. I glanced back one last time at Carriage 13, its doors closed and windows dark. It felt as if it were silently waiting for me to return, a siren call that sent shivers down my spine. I could almost hear the faint echo of the woman's voice, her chilling words about facing my fears and regrets. What did she mean? I whispered to myself, the question lingering in the air. I thought of all the moments I had buried deep within, the regrets I had tried to forget. Were they truly waiting for me in that carriage, ready to confront me when I least expected it? As I turned to leave, I felt a strange pull, as if the shadows of Carriage 13 were reaching out to me. I shook my head, trying to dispel the thought. I had escaped, hadn't I? I had broken free from the darkness. But the lingering sense of dread told me that the experience was far from over. With each step away from the station, I felt the weight of what I had encountered pressing on my chest. I had to be vigilant to remember that the darkness could return at any moment. I could not allow myself to forget the lessons learned in that eerie carriage. The crowd continued to flow around me, but I felt isolated, as if I were moving through a dream. I could still see the dimly lit interior of Carriage 13 in my mind, a haunting reminder of what lay beneath the surface of our everyday lives. And in that moment, I knew I would always look over my shoulder, haunted by the fear that one day, I might find myself back in that carriage, face to face with the shadows once more. The memory of the woman lingered, a ghostly presence that would follow me, urging me to confront the truths I had long avoided. As I stepped onto the street, I felt the cool air wash over me, a stark contrast to the suffocating darkness of the train. But I also felt a resolve forming within me. I would not allow the shadows to define me. I would embrace the light, carry my experiences with me, and face whatever came next with courage. Thank you for joining us on this chilling journey through the Haunting of Carriage 13. Lily's experience serves as a poignant reminder that our fears and regrets can sometimes manifest in ways we least expect. As we navigate through life, we must confront the shadows lurking beneath the surface, for only by facing them can we truly find our way back to the light. If you enjoyed this tale, be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more stories that delve into the unknown and explore the complexities of the human experience. Remember, the darkness may linger, but so does the possibility of hope and redemption. Until next time, keep looking over your shoulder. Who knows what secrets may be waiting just beyond the shadows?